Hello, everyone, and welcome to the next book review in Alex's reading room. This week, today, we will be reviewing a book called Shine by Jessica Jung. It's kind of hard to show off the cover very well because it's a very brightly covered cover, brightly colored cover. And the title is Shiny itself, so it's kind of hard to show off, but this is the back of the book. It's got a picture of Jessica. I can't find where my hands are. Let's start with some basic information, shall we? This book is 348 pages. It is technically in the fiction genre, but in my chart, I consider this book a memoir because this is only my opinion, but I just believe that Jessica is writing about real events. This is only my opinion. Don't sue me, SM. But, or anyone else for that matter. Don't sue anybody. But I classify this book as a memoir. Technically, it's going to be considered fiction. I don't know if you consider it a general fiction book, something like that. Almost like a coming of age book for sure. It definitely falls into that category. As for the age rating, though, I honestly I have to disagree with the back of this book because this book says ages 14 and up. I've rated this at an 18. This definitely looks like a book that you would find in a teenage girl's room because just the colors. Just if you read the back of the book too, the blurb, it just reads like a book that you would find in a teenage girl's room for sure. And I definitely think that this book will interest girls more than guys. However, I did find it interesting. Let me go through with the age rating. So I have rated it at an 18. For sexuality, I have only 1 out of 3. I think there are some kissing scenes, but nothing beyond that, thankfully. The language I have at a 3. There are several F-bombs. There are numerous curse words throughout this book. And actually, I'm currently in the process of reading Bright, which is the sequel, and it has fewer curse words than this book. So, still a 3 because an F-bomb, 1 F-bomb gets you a 3, but 3 out of 3 for language. For the substance, I actually have it as a 2, and you could argue a 3, and I'll explain that in my spoilers section, but I have it at a 2 out of 3. For the death and injury, I have it at a 1. And I will explain that I believe it's only injury. I don't remember any death in this book, but there's some injury. It's not severe. But the main driver of the age rating for me is the language, yes, but also the substance. Okay, and I'm going to explain that in the spoilers section. As far as advanced, this gets a 0. This is not an advanced book to read. Very easy to read. That doesn't mean it's not mentally stimulating, but it's not. I wouldn't classify it in the same category as King Solomon's Mines, for example. For the critique, I have rated it at a 7 out of 10. I did find this book enjoyable. However, it just didn't come up to what I would consider an 8 or above. That's the simplest way that I can put it. It is 348 pages, so a little bit longer than the books that I normally read. Would I recommend this book? Conditionally, yes. Not to everybody. There are a lot of books where I'm just like, yes, just like read this book no matter what. I just finished reviewing Under the Same Sky. That's a book I would recommend to everyone. This book is not. I will say that if you are interested in K-pop, or specifically, like I am, if you are interested in Girls' Generation. For those of you that you don't know, Jessica Jung, the author of this book, and her picture is on the back, she used to be in a group, a K-pop group called Girls' Generation. I think it was back in 2014, although I may be getting that wrong. At some point in the last decade or so, she left the group. And I haven't finished Bright, okay, so I can't say for sure the reason why. But I have been heavily interested in Girls' Generation since I discovered them back in like early 2013. So I was around when she left the group. Used to be 9 members. Now it's 8. And they have released music since then, but the girls are kind of in their 30s and they're doing their own things. And so they don't often release music these days. They did come out with an album fairly recently called Forever One, and I did enjoy that, by the way. But the group is not the same without Jessica, and the problem is I never really got the full story on why she left the group, whether she was kicked out or whether she left voluntarily. I have yet to discover, and I never really got that full story. So I wanted to read this book, Shine. This book is not about why she left the group, okay? Allegedly, it's about a fictional person named Rachel Kim, who grew up in New York and not LA. But I'm going to be talking about this book as if it's a memoir, just because I personally, in my opinion, classify it as a memoir. This tells the story of how Girls Forever, the group in the book, became a thing, how they began. It's their origin story. I was actually expecting for this to tell the story about why the character of Rachel Kim left Girls Forever, but that is the story of Bright, which is the sequel. But this is good context for Bright, I would say. If you are looking to know the reason why Jessica left the group, read this book anyway, because it is very important context. You get introduced to a lot of the characters. A lot of the characters' personalities are revealed, including Rachel herself. There's also an important character named Mina who plays a little bit less of a role in Bright as she does in Shine. She plays a very big role in Shine. But just to learn about what kind of character Rachel is, and in my opinion, what kind of person Jessica is, read it if you want to know the context. It's very recommended context. If you're not interested in K-pop, and if you're not interested in Korea, then this book might not be for you. And like I said, this is definitely a book that's going to interest girls more than it interests guys, but I'm a guy, and I was interested in it, and I got enjoyment out of it, so that may be the case. Now, I am going to go to the spoilers section. So we are going to spoilers, and do not go past this point if you do not want the story spoiled. So, with that being said, the reason this gets a 2 on the substance, it could be argued that it would get a 3, and that is because there's a section where Rachel is drugged against her will. That is one of the hugest things that bumps it up to an 18 for me on the age rating. She is drugged against her will. She blacks out, and videos of her emerge on social media when she was blacked out. I think she's underage at that point too. Maybe not. She may be 18, which is the drinking age in Korea. It's I think it's technically 20, but that's Korean age, which amounts to basically 18 years old. So she may be underage drinking. I don't remember exactly. Either way, Yeah, so she gets drugged. And I decided to put it at a 2 just because it only appears once. There's like, and she's not even fully sure if she's been drugged, and so it's kind of in an ambiguous territory. On one hand, yes, it does feature a drug that is not um, like a substance that is not tobacco or alcohol, but on the other hand, it's not glorifying it. It's not depicting it in a positive light for sure. And so yeah, this book honestly has an alarming amount of curse words in it. It's not like it's every other word, but it's definitely a lot more than I thought. Um, there's definitely there's definitely a lot more curse words than I thought. And if you have a super mature 15-year-old, perhaps you could give this a rating of 15. But personally, I decided to go on the safe side and give it an age rating of 18, especially because of the drugging. Yeah. But this is the story of how Girls Forever and Girls' Generation, I'm pretty sure, became a thing. This doesn't really get into after Girls' Generation actually rose to power. So, yeah, I will say that it's fairly well written. Interesting choice was that she wrote this book in first person present tense, which is just a very strange choice. It like okay, let me see. Let me read a paragraph here. Leah, which is Rachel's sister. Leah hits play on her phone. My muscles scream in pain as I go through the dance routine for what feels like the 100th time that night, stopping only to watch video playbacks from my rehearsals with Mina. There's this one move in the second verse that I keep messing up, and the trainer's constant critiques play in a loop in my head. Very strange. I'm caught in between if I want to count that as a criticism or not, because I'm so used to books being written in past tense. It's not necessarily a bad thing that this book is written in present tense, and it doesn't really interfere with the story that much, and I guess it sort of gives you a little bit more suspense because what's happening now has not already happened, so it's not like it's past tense. And so the narrator, the author, the narrator, cannot give you any kind of foreshadowing on what is going to happen later because the narrator's going through it in real time. So that can be a good and bad thing, because no foreshadowing means you literally do not know what's going to happen next. But also no foreshadowing means could mean too much mystery in some cases. I do like some amount of predictability in a story. Either way, I'm probably going to conclude the review with that, because honestly, 7 out of 10, solid book, not an amazing book. It's good but not great. So far, I would probably rate Bright an 8, but that's going to be its own separate review. And Bright, honestly, is probably going to end up getting a lower age rating of 15. But with that being said, I will conclude. But I hope you enjoyed this review, and if you did, I encourage you to please like the like button, click the like button, subscribe, and stay tuned for more book reviews. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next book review.